again. And third time lucky. Welcome to Authentic Offers 2.0 and our second class. And I'm just going to share our screen to cover our second module. And I'm just going to go up here and press play. So Authentic Offers at Transform and Sell, and our second module, number 2, which is all about our people. So this week we're going to follow on from our audience research and start to think about who our avatar is, who our core audience is, who our competitors are, just to get a sense of what's going on for them, and also our niche. Fantastic, Crystal. Thank you so much. So welcome to week 2. Just as a starting point here for week 2, I just thought it's useful to just summarise where we're at after week 1. So there are a few tasks that we were looking at last week. Firstly, your Zone of Genius worksheet. And just for your reference, I worked through that myself this week, and it was a really good process to go through. So I could see all of I could really go through the materials and experience what you were experiencing as you were going through this. The next step is our Audience Insights worksheet. So that was looking at what you do know now about your audience and gathering that information together. And then the next step was to start thinking about your customer survey. So to start thinking about creating that with the view to be rolling that out this week. And then if you'd like your Trello board to help you manage all of the materials from the course, please email me and I will send that to you. So some people have done that, and I would just encourage anyone who wants to use Trello to ask for your board, and I can get that to you. So on to week 2. But before I get onto that, I really wanted to share with you this notion. My process is really about making sure that we're all working and developing our businesses from a very authentic place. And my experience of developing my own business has been about really stepping into this place of certainty, and about embracing all of myself. And that's a really important part of the process. So I think this is something that I really wanted to share as a follow-up to the work you would have done around the Zone of Genius. And what I wanted to say here was that when you are really embracing all of you and you're taking on board everything that's part of you, your business is really going to start singing, and you'll start going into some really great places with your business. And my experience, and I share my own personal experience with this. So as you know, I've worked corporately and online marketing for about 20 years, and done a lot of work in a lot of different places. And about 3 years ago, I established myself online. But what I did in that time, the first year or two, I didn't embrace all of me. I still was shaking off the corporate, how things need to be done kind of energy. And I didn't bring in, and there were certain parts of me that I was denying in terms of that business, in terms of how I was presenting myself online. So I have a great love for yoga and meditation and also mindset. And I work a lot in that space with people, helping people address and manage mindset and really address all of the issues that are keeping them stuck in business. And I had been denying all of that and holding that apart in my business. And what I found was, working online, I wasn't attracting the people that I wanted to work with, or people would come, but they wouldn't. I was attracting some people, but some wouldn't cross the threshold to work with me. And I realized it was because I was denying a part of myself. I was holding a part of myself away from the business and away from and what I was offering to the world. And it was interesting. In 2016, I had this realization that I could no longer push those things away. I needed to actually bring in my love of manifestation and meditation and yoga and mindset, and that needed to be part of the offering that I was making to the world. Well, within 2 weeks of making that decision, new clients started coming. So I just really wanted to share that story with you for you to think about when you're doing your Zone of Genius worksheet. And if there were some things on there that you thought, I like this, but I'm not sure about whether or not that people out there in the world would like this. Please, and let me tell you that there are people out there who would like this about you and who want to work with you because of those things. That's why they would want to work with you. That's almost the golden nugget that would mean that they would want to work with you. So please bring all of those things in. Please embrace all of those things, because when you do, you absolutely move into this place of real alignment and flow, and you get to a point where you're basically you're embracing all of yourself, and you're serving others, and you're bringing everything to the table and serving them, and that makes a huge difference to how you can help your audience. So if there's anything on that zone of genius you're thinking, oh, that'd be a bit scary to show to the world, or I'm not sure if I should bring that into my offering, can I please encourage you to do it, because that's possibly the golden key to your success. So really bringing and embracing all of yourself in this process. So I just wanted to share that as we now move into the next stage, which is really to start thinking about who our audience is and who we want to serve. So today we're going to be covering your audience research, or we're going to start thinking about what your audience research might be telling you. Now, I know some people are probably still doing their surveys and putting them out. That's fine. I'm just sharing this information today because there are some people who may already have some audience research in play and they want to start moving to the next stage. So I'm just sharing this today. But if you're still getting your survey prepared, I think that's great. Just look at rolling that out this week so that by next week you can start doing this audience avatar process. In this step, I'd like you also this week to start looking at your competitors. And the reason that we're doing this is that we can make sure that you're differentiated from your competitors. So in terms of what you're saying about yourself, in terms of how you're presenting yourself, and your key messages. And I'm going to take you through a process to do that. And today I'm also going to be speaking with you about how to identify your niche so you're working with your ideal clients. And I've got 3 really important questions that I want to share with you that are really critical to the success of your business. So that's coming up right at the end of today. And you'll notice here I've written people part 1. It's because this people piece is such a big piece. It's actually split into 2. So next week, what we'll be starting to look at is creating your authentic offer so people will buy from you. I'll also be starting to show you how to deal with objections so that you can make more sales. And I'm going to be showing you how to create some content that appeals to people, so no, you're not wasting time and effort on money for things that don't work. So that's all for next week, but I just want to let you know that's coming down the pipe. But today we're just focusing on those other elements. So the first thing that we're focusing on today is your audience analysis. So what is your audience research showing you, or what is it going to show you, and what do we do with that? So if you haven't finished your audience research, please don't panic. But this step is just for those people who may be more advanced and who want to move on. And so it's really about really digging into that audience research, and I'm showing you here how to actually read that and how to make sense of it for yourself. So your audience research is going to be bringing together a few things. It's going to be bringing together your personal review, so the audience insights that you looked at last week. It's going to be bringing together your audience survey and perhaps the face-to-face interviews or discussions that you've had. And it's also going to be taking into consideration your competitors and their testimonials. So these are the building blocks to doing your audience analysis. So the key here is to really gather all of your results and read and review them. And read and review them a number of times. It's not about just reading it once. It's about really letting what people have told you sink in and really percolate and really marinate inside you. And I've actually prepared in the membership area a little meditation for you to sort of read that material, and then you can go into this meditation and really, it takes you into a great place where you're literally sitting with your ideal audience member and our avatar, and you're asking them what it is that they want and what they need from you. And it's a really powerful process. So that meditation is also going to be in the module 2 area for you to access. So my best advice to you is gather all of that information together and then step into looking at this meditation, because it will help you really narrow things down. So once you've done that, you're going to, and within that meditation, you're really going to focus on who is your audience and what they really need and want from you. So there's a whole range of things that they could possibly have said that they want, but what do they really need? And you'll find in that meditation that they'll be telling you exactly what they want. Once you've done that, we're then going to step into the process of helping you create your audience avatar. So an audience avatar, just to recap, this is basically a summary where we have written all in one place who your audience member is and what their issues are and how you can help them. And I'm going to give you a couple of tools to do this, and you can decide which tool suits you. You don't have to use all three. In fact, I would suggest not to, but you just choose your own adventure. Choose what works best for you. But in this avatar, what we're looking to do is to summarize what we found in our audience research. So what does our audience really need? What do they really need? This is in relation to your area of expertise. What's concerning them at the moment? So what's bothering them? What's keeping them up at night? And what pain points might they be experiencing? So what is what's really, I like to say, what's the burr under the saddle blanket? When we're riding a horse and we've got, you've got the saddle blanket and then you've got the saddle. If there's something underneath the saddle blanket, there is no way that your horse is going to be comfortable and no way that you're going to be comfortable on the ride, because they are, they're going to be fidgety and jumpy. It's going to be hurting them. And it's this pain point that we're looking at for your audience as well, that we're wanting you to understand really, really well so that you can provide a solution for them. The next step is to look at your audience's, what does your audience value? What's most important to them? And the reason for this is that we need to, when we're connecting authentically with people and when we're marketing to people, there needs to be some values connection for them to feel a resonance with us and for them to feel connected to us. So what are their values? What are things that are important to them? Do they value home? Do they value family? Do they value health? What it is that they value, and where can you connect with them on that? The next question is, what do they dream about and what are they looking for? So what's the thing, what's the magic wand? And in the survey question I've asked, there's a question there for you to ask, which is, if I could wave a magic wand, what is it that you would like more than anything, or what would a solution look like to your problem? And this is what we want to get this information so we can write this into your avatar document. And then finally, we want to understand, how does your audience member live? So, do they commute? Do they drive in their cars? Do they take public transport? Do they walk to work? Do they work from home? Even these simple questions around how they get to and from work and how they work are really significant in terms of being able to understand how to communicate best with your audience. So if they commute and they drive, well, then probably listening to a podcast or listening to an audio could be a really good way of communicating with your audience. Podcasts are also great for stay-at-home or work-from-home mums, because they can be listening to podcasts while doing other things. So this is just an example. This is why we're sort of becoming really curious and we're wanting to understand how our audience lives so that we can then communicate with them. It's also really useful to understand who our audience is influenced by. So are there particular blogs that they're reading? Are there particular podcasts that they're listening to? Are there particular places that they go online or offline? So understanding all of these influences will then help you get a sense then of how you need to communicate with them and what you need to say. And also, what are those influences talking about and saying that could be of interest to your audience? And you could say, well, there's some good ideas for some blog outlines and so on and so forth. So lots of opportunities there. What books are your people reading and what social platforms are they on? We need to know what social platforms they're on so that we can be in those platforms with them. So this is the idea of the audience avatar. I hope that makes sense to everybody. But what we're doing is we're just putting together in one place. It could be an Excel spreadsheet, it could be a Word document, or it could be a couple of these other summary tools that I'm showing you today that you can bring that together. So how do we do that? So we bring together all of that material that we've already looked at. So gather your results, read and review those, do that meditation that I recommend, review again, and then take out your business and offer roadmap and respond to the audience questions. So this is something that's in your Module 2 membership area. This is the business and offer roadmap. So last week I asked you to just think about what your business goal might be. So within 2 years, what would you like to have done? And then you'll see here, I'm showing here on the screen, specifically there's some questions around your audience. So if you wanted to do your audience avatar summary, this is the place that you would be writing it in. This is probably the core place that I would recommend that you write this in. And you don't have to write a big story at all. You can just write a paragraph summary here. So our audience avatar's name is X, she is Y years old, she and how she lives and the issues she's experiencing. What I'm interested for you to do here is to answer some of these questions that I've got here. and I might just pop out to have it show you those questions just in the actual Word document. But what we're covering here is, actually I can cover these here, I can see them here. Just that every time I go back and forth, there's a bit of a lag. So in these questions, so she's experiencing the following problems. So in her external life, she could have some problems. So I've given you some examples here. So in her external life, she could be someone, it could be she, and she's too busy to take time out for herself. So she's externally very busy. There's no time, me time, no self-care time. On the inside, she could be actually thinking to herself, well, I feel guilty about taking time out for myself. I should be spending more time with my family. I should be doing things for my extended family. I should be at work. I don't have any time to take time for myself. So see the difference here. Externally, she's looking busy, but internally, what we're trying to understand here is the kind of conversations that she's having with herself. Then this is the next question, philosophically. Philosophically, what is she concerned about? And this question here is all around how things should be. So how things should be in her life. So things like, well, I'm a well-educated woman. I should be able to fit time in for everybody else and some time for myself. There's a should. The philosophical question is often the should question. I should be doing this, but I'm not, and I feel guilty about it, or I feel whatever about it. So that's a question that you could put in here. Now I know that in your audience research, you haven't asked specifically these questions, but you're going to get a sense of who your audience member is through asking the questions that you've asked in the research, and this will give you the answers to these questions. You'll also get a sense from having done all of that, sort of bringing all of that material together, what issues she's facing. And what we're doing here, so this is really around pain points, and the kind of issues that she's facing, both on a physical, emotional, social perspective. So, and there's some good examples in there. So physically, she could be feeling stiffer. These examples are taken from one of my clients she's establishing a yoga studio. So we went into a whole range of things here. I've just given you a couple of examples here. So physically, she could be feeling stiffer. Emotionally, she could be feeling tired and a bit worn out and low in energy. Career and financial impacts, she's quite busy and could be traveling a lot, so it could be hard for her to do what she needs to do. Socially, she's quite busy. And there's a few other questions there. In her family life, she's feeling there's never enough time. In her relationship, she's feeling she's guilty about not giving her partner enough time, etc., etc. So I've just given you these things here as examples. And what you can do is just delete what you see and then write what you know. But just really get into the space of thinking about who is this person that you want to serve, and what are the issues that they're facing. So that's what we're covering here in the business and offer roadmap. And I'll at the end, I'm actually going to step back through that document in the members area to show you that. But I just wanted to take a bit of time now while we're thinking about this to do that. I've also provided you in the membership area a couple of supplementary tools. There's an audience avatar overview, and there's also an avatar story. I'm thinking I will pop out to show you that, because I think I've got those all ready to show you here. Where are we? Okay, so here. Okay, so I've got here, this is the audience avatar overview, and this is literally a PDF that you can download and print out. You can fill it in. But basically, if you don't feel like using the business and offer roadmap, this is just another tool that you could use. But here you just can do a summary. And this one doesn't require a lot of writing. You can just this is a good bullet point summary. This is not quite useful. So what age is your avatar? What gender? What's their marital status? Do they have children? And where do they live? That's very simple things to include. What's their work background? So what do they do? What sort of income do they have? What sort of education do they have? And what sort of purchasing decisions, do they make? So these are important questions in terms of level of income, because we need to make sure that we've got an audience who's got the propensity to pay us. So I'm going to be talking more about this later in this class, but it is important to understand roughly, what that your audience does have a decent income, that they would pay you. It's really critical. If you are going through your audience research and you feel that your audience doesn't have the money to pay you, then we may need to look at finding another audience for you to focus on, because you've got to have, it's no sense starting a business when people don't have the money to pay you. You'll see here, then the next segment is goals and values. So what are their goals and what are their values? So I've already covered these points before, but just again, you could put this in here in summary. What are their pain points? What's challenging them? And then what objections might they have? So, you know, and next week I'm going to be talking a lot about objections, but so if you feel a bit confused by this, just know that it's things like time. Typical objections are, I don't have the time for that. I don't have the money for that. It's going to take me too much, it's too much effort and motivation. So those are typical objections. So just, we need to be aware of those objections so that we can address them in your sales process. And then finally, down the bottom, information sources for your avatar. So what social platforms are they on? Who are their influencers? I'm just reading what magazines do they read? What books do they read? What conferences do they go to if they go to that? So you can change those things depending on your audience. But you'll see here, we're just trying to draw in one page a very simple picture of who your avatar is. The other thing that I want to say here is you'll see that I've written here avatar name. And I do like to give my avatars a name because they help them become a real person and to us. And you can even find a picture of them. And so that whenever you're writing a blog or you're working on your business, you're writing specifically to that person and what their needs are. So this is all about helping you helping move your mindset into the space of really supporting and working with your avatar. So this is another tool you can use. You can use this instead of the business and offer roadmap, or if you'd like to do a quick summary and then do some more writing in the business and offer roadmap, then you can do that. The other tool that I have for you is in here is where am I at? That was it. The other tool that I have for you, if you want to delve into this in more detail and you want to get an example, if you're looking for a template of what an avatar story looks like, I've prepared this handy little PDF for you. So basically this is also in the membership area. So I give a little introduction here, but I give you the steps, which I've already stepped you through in the class already today. But what this gives you here is an example of what an avatar story looks like. And so what you could write, if you're a writer, if you really enjoy writing and you would like to have a stream of consciousness, then this is a really cool tool for you to use. And if you want to really focus on what an avatar story would look like, here's an example for you. So as you know, you run it, and I've just given this as an example. So you run a yoga retreat in Bali and you're marketing yoga and health retreats to people from the US, Europe and Australia. Your avatar is a 35 to 43-year-old single professional woman called Sarah who works in a large metropolitan city the size of Brisbane. So you see, I've just given a summary of so you get a sense of where this avatar is coming from. But then this is the power of story. I have actually written the story from Sarah, the avatar's perspective. So she says, I've had enough. I've been working, and this is based, by the way, on real life people that I know. So this is a true story. Names have been changed, of course, but this is a real life story. So, and an avatar is a composite of all of the people sort of in this sort of group that we bring them together into one story. So Sarah says, I've had enough. I've been working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week for the last 12 months. My consulting work is always on the go and I'm always the last one in the office trying to get everything done for our clients. We've had a lot of media issues to manage lately and they always come to me to manage. So see here, we're getting a sense of how she works. She doesn't have a lot of time for herself and she's quite frustrated by that. It doesn't matter what time I go to, should we say bed, I still get up at 5 a.m. every morning to work out. I've worked hard to lose weight in the last couple of years and I'm fit, but all I do is either work or work out. I'm finding my morning workouts really boring and I have to drive 25 minutes straight from there to my job in the city. Okay, so this is telling us that some pain points emerging here. So there's been weight loss issues. So she's on this sort of process of getting fit, but she's got a very sort of a life that's very work or fitness, not a lot else going on. Driving 25 minutes straight from there to my job tells me she's got time in the car so she could be listening to something that could be of value to her. I'm single, but I come from a large family. So if I'm not working or working out, I'm helping my sisters out with their kids. I love them, but I'm just exhausted. One of the things I like to do in the little spare time I have is to check out what my friends are doing on Instagram and Facebook. Now I've lost this weight, I also quite like to post pictures of me and my friends when we were out. So here we're seeing, again, more pain. She doesn't have a lot of time, and this is highlighting she's a single woman. But one of her things she likes to do is be on Instagram and Facebook. Okay, so she is here on these social platforms, and she's sort of posting pictures of selfies quite a lot. The big problem for me, though, is that every day just feels the same, and I need a real change of scenery from this busy city and life. I never get any downtime just for me that makes me feel recharged and full of energy. So there's a big pain point that then a yoga retreat could respond to. So if we keep on going on. Lately, I've been thinking about going on a different sort of holiday where I'm in a different culture and active, but not doing the full-on workouts I do at home. Some of my girlfriends have been talking about a great yoga retreat they did in Bali last year. So here we're starting to see that she's, looking for something different and wants to sort of expand herself. I travel often with friends or one of my cousins, but I haven't been to Bali in about 10 years. Last time I went, I got sick from the food I ate. When I travel, I enjoy staying in pretty nice places and love to have a few drinks and read by the pool. I also love great food. But the food options have to be healthy, though now that I've lost this weight, I'm determined to keep it off. So we're getting a sense here of how she likes to live, what sort of, accommodation for a retreat would need to offer. Everyone is talking about Bali and what a great place it is to find yourself and to really check out for a while. And we know that she wants this from what she said earlier. Just look at Elizabeth the Gilbert and Eat, Pray, Love. I'm going to ask my cousin Sophie if she'll come with me, but if I could go on my own too if I went to a yoga retreat. It would be a good way to go away but not be lonely. I hope I might meet some people that I might connect with. So here's some desires, wanting to do something different. But I'm just a bit concerned about the food. I don't want to get sick again, and I really need to know where to go to experience the best yoga retreat for me. I'm not that keen on getting stuck with a place that isn't good at teaching beginners like me. I feel a bit self-conscious about trying something so different and out of my comfort zone. I really like to know what I'm doing in front of a group. So here, these things, so we've got to the point where she's probably looking to go to a yoga retreat, but this is all telling us how she wants to be communicated. So she wants to know that on this retreat, there'll be great food, that it'll be healthy, that she will have some time to relax by the pool, and that she'll be staying in a nice place. She also wants to know that at the actual yoga retreat, because there are many in Bali, that it's going to be best for her. So she wants to go to a place for new beginners and where she won't be made to feel self-conscious or, stepping out of her, nervous about stepping out of her comfort zone. So I hope that story gives you a sense of how, that's a detailed avatar story. You don't need to go to that level, but I just wanted to show you that I think when you do the meditation, you'll actually get a sense of how you could write a story like this. I don't expect you to write a story like this. You could just do some bullet points. But what I'm saying is this really, when we do something like this, we can really get inside that person's head. Now, I have created that avatar out of people that I know. But I'm sure with your audience, there will be people that you know that need your help, that you could do something similar. But again, this is just an alternate option. You don't have to be writing this. If you feel concerned about writing or whatever, don't worry about doing that. But I just wanted to share it there as an example of something that you can do. But here, if we just look here in this outline here, we're seeing this story is still telling us these things that we've sort of seen in those other tools that I've given you. So the key character traits, the key desires, the key fears, the rhythm to her day, and her social media habits. And we need to know these things so that we can then, about our audience, so we can then provide a solution to them. So I guess that is a summary there of the avatar story for you. So I think that covers that. I think there's anything else that I wanted to cover with you right now while we're out looking in the membership area. Where are we? Okay, just can't see if there's anything else we wanted to look at there. But those are the key things. So I hope that is useful. I've just gone into our other membership area to see if there's anything else I wanted to show you. No. Actually, while we're here, we'll look at that business and offer roadmap. I just wanted then, and then we'll go to the competitor analysis. So in terms of actually I think I've got that. Well, let's open that up. No, it's already here. So there we go. So if we have a look at the business and offer roadmap, this is it here. So this is a really valuable tool for you. And when I talk about authentic offers and different, having a system that you can use again and again, this tool can be your roadmap for every single business you would ever want to do in your entire life. So it's a really valuable document. So there's the business goal and the marketing goal, and then we've got this section here around your audience. So you can see those questions that I covered earlier. There are other segments to the map. I don't want you to worry about them today. I just want you to, or in this stage, I'd just like you to focus on just your goal and what your offer is. And sorry, beg your pardon, the pain that your audience is experiencing. Those are the questions that are really critical to answer before we go to the next step. The other steps are in here where just to give you an overview, we talk about how you're going to solve that person's problem, what objections they might have, how you're going to respond, and what your offer statement will be. But that's stuff that we're all going to deal with in the next couple of weeks. So I don't want you to worry about it too much today, just to focus on that. So I think that was a little tour of those things that I wanted to talk about right now. So let's just go back into our presentation. So hopefully that's all useful. I think the thing that I really want to highlight here is that you don't have to do all of those 3 tools. You don't need to do the business offer roadmap and the avatar profile, the one-pager, coloured one-pager, and the avatar story. You can just choose the one that suits you best. Don't worry about doing everything else. So then the next step, once you've started thinking about your audience avatar, and this is something that you'll be developing over the next couple of weeks. It doesn't have to be done today or in the next 2 days. You need to do your audience research and then move to that. The next thing that is useful for you to do to really help understand your positioning in the market and where you might want to take your business is to do a competitor review. So with this competitor review, what we're literally doing, we're doing as I said earlier, we're doing just a review of what our competitors are doing so that really you're differentiated. And in that, in doing this and recommending this, I want to really highlight, just keep a very light touch around this. Don't feel that you don't feel that don't be dragged down by comparison-itis. That's what I'm really trying to say. Just keep a light touch on this, just get a sense of what your competitors are doing. And in looking at these questions that I'm going to be asking you, you'll get a sense of what you need to do for your business. So it's a really sort of good educative process. So there's a worksheet there in the membership area that I'll go through with you, but the questions on that worksheet are these. So what are the 3 takeaways that your competitors are doing? What are the 3 messages that they're trying to put out to you? So if you were to sort of look at their website, or if you were to look at their materials, what would be the 3 things that you take away from that? And I beg your pardon, I just need to back one little bit. When you're doing the competitor analysis, just have a look at their websites. You don't have to go and do anything more than that. The websites these days are generally excellent ways of getting a sense of what competitors are doing. So when you have a look at their website, what are the 3 things that jump out at you that you think that they are really trying to tell their audience consistently? What's their style and tone? Are they friendly? Are they warm? Or are they cool and somewhat professional? Are they family oriented? Are they club-like? What is their style and tone? What is their offer? So what are they offering their audience? Is it really obvious to you that they're making an offer to their audience, or is it a bit obscure? Do they have a tagline for their business, or don't they? And I'm just moving on, pressing my button here, and a few other questions that are going to appear in a minute, which are, thinking about what sort of value do they offer. So if you were to sort of look at everything that they're offering, what is the value? Is there a word that comes up when you think of them? Do they have what we call an opt-in or a lead magnet? So something free that you can download on their website for you to get their email address? And do they have a blog? What sort of content does it cover? And is it regular, or is it not regular? And what's their pricing like? What do they include? What do they exclude? And what is extra? Again, this is all really useful research for you, so that when you come to think about your own pricing structure and your own presentation of the market, you can remember back to this and go, oh, okay, that was useful to know. What social platforms are they on, and what sort of level of engagement are they getting? So again, if your competitors are in your same niche, their customers are potentially customers that could be your customers, it'd be useful to get a sense of what engagement they've got. So that's the competitor review, and that is the worksheet that's also available in Module 2. So those are the two big chunks for today, looking at your audience avatar and then looking at your competitor review. And then this is the final thing that I wanted to cover today, and this is a really, really, really important question. Oh, there's 3 important questions here, and I'd like you to take on board your audience research and really then put that audience research against these 3 questions. Because what we're wanting to do is wanting you to confirm a niche that's going to work for you as a business, and we want to look at your goals. So the big question is the audience and niche that you're wanting to work with, are they viable for you to achieve your business goals? And there are 3 questions to help understand this. There's 3 really powerful questions that you can ask yourself. And let me tell you, these questions are the basis of a strong business. The way you answer these questions is the basis of a strong and powerful business, or a business that's not going to go where you want it to go. So the first question is there a problem that you can solve well and provide a clear transformation for this particular audience? So is there a problem that you can solve well and provide a very clear transformation for this particular audience? So this is where we're looking at the work you did in your zone of genius and what then your audience research has shown you, and you're pulling that together and say, yes, I can do this thing that's going to solve the problem for this audience. So in my zone of genius, it's that I'm great at teaching and coaching, and I've got some really good skills around creating marketing messages. What did my audience research show me? It showed me that there were a lot of business women who were stuck with their messaging and stuck in their business. And can I help them transform? Can I provide a solution for that? Yes, I can. So that's a question that I can answer and solve for myself. Now, if you feel like, oh, well, my audience research showed me something different and I don't know if really I'm offering what they're looking for, well, then the next thing you can do is just adjust your offer so that it does respond to those needs that your audience have said that they're looking for. So that's really, really, really valuable for you to think about. You're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You're thinking, okay, does my offer just need to be adjusted so that I can give them what they're looking for? And if you remember what I spoke about last week in terms of want versus need, you can know, and I'll use the pen example again, you can know that the offer that you're making is perhaps what they really need is a really good writing tool, but what they want is something that's fun and happy and vibrant. And so you can provide them a fun, happy and vibrant pen that also is a good writing tool. So you're focusing on what they want, so the fun, happy experience versus what you know they need, which is just a pen that really works well. So I just want to keep that a really simple analogy there. The second question is your audience accessible? So are you fishing in the right pond? So you may have these skills. So for example, I may have these skills of being able to help and transform women with their messaging in their business, but am I fishing in the right pond for them? Because there are many different places I could go and many different types of business women that I could approach. So are you fishing in the right pond? And what I would say to you is, remember, this again can be adjusted and changed. You can learn how to build community in different places. You can learn how to market to people in different places. Just if you thought that perhaps your audience was in one place, but they're actually in another, and you need to learn those skills, you can learn them. There's no problem with that at all. And the third question is, does your audience have an ability to pay what you are looking for? And this is the clincher. They need to have money. If not, is there another niche that would be more viable? Is there another pond that you might need to fish in? So, for example, I've had a couple of clients who've said that they'd like to work with students to help them. And that's useful, but students, what do we know about students? They don't have a lot of money. So unless there's another incentive like getting professional development points or getting some specific clinical hours up, then the niche of students wouldn't be as good as perhaps another niche that you could go to. So I hope that makes sense. We're just the bottom line question here is, can your audience pay what you're looking for? Do they have money in their pockets? And the other point I'd like to address here too is that some people who come to work with me, they say, well, I really want to work with migrant women, or I want to work with elderly women, or I want to work with students. And I would say to them, absolutely. And if that's a group you feel called to support, then absolutely do that. But in the meantime, what can you do? Is there another group of women that you could help with that same skill set, that you could build a good business around that and earn, create a great income around that, which would then allow you to go and do some pro bono work with those groups that don't have the money to pay. So I hope that makes sense, but it's really about understanding that if we need to get these questions right, and I'm posing these questions now in week 2 because you're in the process of your audience research. And if you do your audience research and you apply these questions to them, you're going to save yourself a lot of time with marketing. So 3 questions again are, is there a problem that you can solve well and provide a clear transformation for this audience? So, are you doing something that will solve people's problems? Can you get to that audience? And finally, will they pay what you're looking for? So 3 really powerful questions that you, again, take those questions throughout your life in terms of any business that you're looking to develop. And if you understand and can get very clear on the answer to those questions, then you're going to be in a really great place in terms of building a really strong and powerful business. And if you're not sure about all of that, then I encourage you to go back again and just do some meditation or take some quiet time to really think about who is it that needs your help and how you can best help them. So just again, I'm a real believer in engaging all parts of you. So engaging the 5 senses, but also really, tapping into that higher self, that level of intuition inside yourself, because it will give you some incredible answers. So I really encourage you to do that. So I think in terms of, that's bringing us to an end of the class today. In terms of the summary of what I'd be looking for you to look at today would be once you've done your audience research, to start analysing it, to create your audience avatar, to take a look at your competitors to ensure your differentiation. And in fact, once you've got your audience research out and it's in the field and doing its thing, you could be reviewing your competitor research to ensure your differentiation there. And then identifying your niche, so you're working with your ideal client. So just 3 things this week. And again, we're going to be building on this in the next 2 weeks. So don't feel, oh my gosh, I'm not quite there yet with my audience research. Just let that roll out this week, knowing by the end of the week, we'd be wanting to step into this audience research process. And then finally, just really clarifying how you are going to help people. So what's this transformation? What's this thing that you're going to offer to your audience? Because your audience research should be showing you pretty clearly, what it is that they're looking for by now. So I'm just going to jump out of this now and ask if there are any questions to what I've covered today. And also, I'll just quickly show you, I think I've got that competitor review there available for you to, I don't. I thought I did. Let me go have a look in the membership site. Got a few things open here. Oops, number 1. Okay, let's go back in here and I'll just look at the competitor review. So this is the competitor analysis document. Again, light touch on all of these things. We're just really wanting you to just get a sense of things, and this is very useful to give you a sense of where your competitors are at. So the questions that I've asked sit here across the top of the page, and they'll just give you some clues to what your competitors are doing. If you want to do more competitors, you're more than welcome to do that, but I would say to you, keep a light touch, just do 3 and just get a sense of this, and you'll get a sense then of where your marketing needs to go as well. So I think that is that there. I think I'm going to stop my share now and come back and ask questions. Hey, Josie, how are you? Welcome. Great to see you. So yes, any questions for anybody? Again, everyone can come off mute now if you like. Mary, I'm going to unmute you so you can come off mute. There we go. And again, so just any questions at all, I am open for business on the questions. I realise the bit that I've covered there, but again, remember, it's just an iterative process. I just wanted to have some things in place so that people who are more advanced can get into those as well.
I have a quick question. Yeah, I noticed that finding a niche came a little bit after, like it's not at the beginning type of thing, like which I find is different and good, probably, good in a sense. So, um, yeah. So my question was, why is that later in the course?
I guess it's sort of week 2, and you're right. And as I looked at that, I thought, well, should I have been asking this question earlier? It's because by this stage you probably haven't done your audience research yet, so you're getting a sense of who they are. But equally, Crystal, I could have put that as a first item in the presentation today. But I think it's a really good question that you ask. It's just once you've looked at your audience research a bit, you'll get a sense of what their issues are, and you can answer that question. Well, once you've done the audience research, it's okay, this is the problems they're facing. Okay, how does my solution fit into that? And until you know the problems that they're facing, we don't know that. You can think that it might, but it might not. Yeah. Yeah. And look, we could, and that's a good point. I mean, maybe next time I'll put that up front, but the big thing here is also thinking about your audience around, do they have capacity to pay? That's another big thing. But great question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Mary, Josie, do you have any other questions at all?
I don't know if it's relevant, but because I do the markets in Fremantle, I know that the audience, I've got that niche market there. That's one particular niche market. There's probably different niches that I can slot into. But one of my problems is a lot of the people are in wander mode, tourist mode, and you trying to engage them is quite difficult. Have you got any suggestions or?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. And I think what I would say to you is that, and I've done market stalls myself in the past with my family, and one of the things that I'd say to you is that there will be a particular type of person out of all of those tourists walking by that you will identify as wanting your product. And so that'll help you make a decision firstly on who you actually approach, who you actually reach out to, because when you're in a market stall situation, you're literally having to reach out and call people in and so on. So what I would say is you'll know your particular niche in terms of the women, because this is for lipsticks, right? This is for lipsticks.
Yes.
Okay. So you'll know there's an age group of women, perhaps from other places that you're selling the product. You'll know that's the age group that it's really appealing to. So what you would do would be thinking, okay, what do all of these women need and want in terms of what's the problem that I'm solving? What problem does this product solve that others don't? And then so that's the first question. So to understand that from across your audience research. And then the second thing is when you're approaching people, when you've got this sea of people coming towards you in the markets, you then go, okay, there's my woman. You're actually zeroing in and you're calling her to you, energetically you're calling her to you. But you know that, and I don't know anything about your age group, but probably a 16-year-old girl is not going to be your audience, but I'd say a woman maybe, I don't know, 25 to 55 might be, if she's got, I don't know the price of the product and so on, but you'll start getting a sense of, okay, these are the women that I concentrate on. I don't worry about those other women. And it might be women, I mean, the smaller the niche, the better, but when you're in a market situation, you're going to be going broad. But I would get a sense that from your product, maybe it's 30 to 55. I don't know. But you'll start sorting through all of that audience and really focus on those people when they're all coming, because they're literally coming to you. Yeah. So that would be the first thing. And then this is also where your audience research is important to understand, well, what are the things that are bugging people about their lipstick that they're using at the moment? And how does this lipstick solve that? So, I mean, you could put a survey, it's a simple survey into our, into even, the Authentic Opposite Transform and Sell Facebook group. And not every woman in that group wears lipstick, but a few of us do. We could answer some questions for you.
Absolutely.
And yeah. So just do that, ask, because you need to get a sense. I mean, my issue at the moment, I'm getting older and that dreadful thing called lipstick bleeding has started happening. And I thought, I'm not sure how to solve it. And Josie and I were together with a friend on the weekend, and she gave us a very interesting solution for that. But
And funnily enough,
these women, so
funnily enough, that solution has popped up on the internet as well since then. I thought, oh my God. And I just,
What is it? I'm curious to know.
oh, okay, well, Josie, I guess we better share, hey? We can't sort of say that. Because Debbie was saying, oh, well, this is the solution. And we were like, what? And she said, hemorrhoid cream.
I knew you were going to say that. Apparently it's for the bags as well under our eyes. We can talk about that too.
I know.
Weird.
Well, it makes sense when you think about it, but it just seems so out of left field.
Yeah.
It does. Apparently,
Did you test it?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't been to the chemist to test it. But Debbie swears by it. But here's the disclaimer. You don't wear it all the time. Apparently you put it on for 5 minutes and then you wipe it off and then you put on whatever you're going to put on. So you don't leave it on all day. And for the eyes, because she said, apparently it tightens the skin. And I'm guessing if you put it on for a long time, you sort of be very, so,
I don't know. It just seems the weirdest thing. But,
Do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like backstreet Botox.
yes. Yeah. So it is a bit backyard. It's a bit of a backyard operation, really. But anyway, that's what
I don't know. I actually, I didn't look into this one, but it was actually coming up as a, one of these kept secrets by women. Yeah.
That's right.
Wow.
So, Mary, for you, I mean, there's something you could even do a live on. You could do a Facebook Live about that on your Facebook page, and something you've discovered and does it work or not. But what I'm getting at is that women have got issues around lipstick. Like this, your lipstick.
Oh, look.
Your products come onto the market for a reason. Sorry, go, Josie.
I want to tell you that I was at a market at my parents' place a couple of weeks ago, and this woman had all these lipsticks there, and I'm like, "Ooh, lipsticks," But they just sat there and totally ignored me. And I went past that store 3 times, and I didn't feel welcome to come and look at the lipsticks and find out why they were selling them at the markets. So I just kept going.
Oh, that's really sad.
Yeah, I know. I just thought, wow, they could have sold me so much. I just really would have liked to know exactly why the lipsticks were being sold that way and what was special about them. And, I was quite curious that they were sitting there doing their knitting and forgetting about their customers.
Well, interesting.
That is so mean.
Yeah.
But I just love my lipsticks. And they don't even budge. Do you know why I like? Because I used to have, I haven't got any on now. I'm in my bedroom. I've just looked like a wreck, like the wreck of the Hesperus. But
You
tell
don't.
you what, I'd go out, I'd have a few wines, my lipstick would end on my nose, on my chin, on my teeth, on the bloke, everywhere. This stuff does not budge. Not on your wine glass, not on the guys, not on anybody. Can't be eaten off, kissed off, worn off, anything off.
Beautiful.
And that's me.
Do you have testers, Mary?
Testers?
Yeah, that you can give people as they come in and.
I do it on their hands, or I can do it on their hands if they don't want it on their lips. And I just say to them, look, try this, or if they want to try it out and they're not sure, I said, look, go and have lunch, have something to eat, have something to drink, and come back. Or if you want to, you can just buy it straight out now.
Yeah.
Good.
But maybe I shouldn't be telling them to go away. I should be just
keep them while you got them.
Keep them while I've got them, and just say, but then they go, oh, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
So what do I say then? Do I say well, if you buy right now, you can have a discount, or
I'm not keen on the discount.
I don't like discounting.
Yeah, I'm not keen on the discounting. I wouldn't do that. I think you're going to get, and the other thing with selling, it's a probabilities game. Out of every 10 potential people who walk up to you, 2 won't buy, 2 will definitely buy, and it's the 6 in between that you're looking to really focus on engaging. And so, and this is next week, I'm going to talk more about dealing with objections. So, and what we need to do, Mary, is for you to understand your audience really well, what their problems are and why they would object. So the think about it thing, I mean, people are, look, they are just browsing because they're tourists and so on, but the think about it thing can be a whole range of things. But you might say, look, in terms of thinking about it, this is sort of going into next week's work, but you could offer there could be a little something extra that you might throw in that might be a small token thing. There's a range of things that you could do. But I'd like to possibly, I want you to find out more about your audience, about what women and our lipstick issues are, and then you'll have more answers. And your sales process is going to be a lot easier because you'll be able to talk to us about this. I've raised a really big one today for women really 40 plus, which is lip bleeding.
And also losing the lipstick is the other big one, I think.
That's right. And having to top up in the middle of the night or whatever. So I just get yourself up a little survey, just do it in our group, do it with friends. But we need to know.
Okay, cool.
We really need to know your audience. And I know sometimes people feel a bit shy about doing their audience research. And I have in the past, but I can tell you, as soon as I've done it, I've got so much more information, and what I've got to say is so much more powerful. And Josie, you're going through it at the moment. How do you feel about your comments?
I'm going really great. I've done 9 interviews so far, and I've got tons more to do. I'm really excited about the numbers. I've actually even done a boosted ad today because I've opened up spaces for the interviews for this week and next week. So I really want to fill them all up. Because it's really valuable talking to clients. One client actually said to me, you need to add a few more questions. And they were really specific, and I added them. And so they are giving me really good information as well. So I've taken some bookings from the interviews. But what I'm getting is, and what you said earlier, Jen, really struck with me. Embrace all of me. And that's been really one of my problems, is embracing all of me. And I'm going to go back to the Zone of Genius document and have a look at that again, because in the last 48 hours, when I started talking to these people, the more I am myself and telling them exactly what I do and what I love, they love it. They love it. And I think I've recreated my business in the last 48 hours because it's really focused me. And, I basically said to them, one of the questions is, what would stop you from working with me, right? And so, or what do you expect from working with me? And so I've had to say, well, my work's informed by the body talk system. It's informed by Gestalt psychotherapy. It's informed by my experiences in Vipassana meditation. I include ancient wisdom and quantum weirdness. And that's all of the stuff that I include in my practice. And they're like, whoa, you got me on the quantum weirdness. And I'm like, that's the thing I haven't been talking about, that I keep back all the time. And so I'm just like, that's it now. I'm just putting it all out there.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm really loving, and I'm getting clearer on my point of difference as well. And that was a little bit to do with what you raised for me yesterday, Jen, is that I do approach it differently. I just have to find a way of describing that. And so, I got really clear. And the conversations I'm having with people are really fantastic. And they are not the target audience that I identified last time, but they are more the audience that I talk to all the time. Yeah. So I'm feeling much more. Yeah, I've got a lot of questions still about, do I start a new Facebook page? I'm definitely going to start a new Facebook group, and things around that, just to get really aligned. And it feels a bit scary doing that, but I also look down the track 30 years and say, well, for a few months of struggling to build my audience again, to get the right audience that's really, really aligned with me, it's probably worth it.
Josie, that's so good. So good. So Josie's just given this incredible testimonial for the power of audience research. So I really can't overstate this. it's such an important process. And I love the fact that you've gone so deep. You're doing the interviews, not just the online. And look, and you can take this process. People are going to take this course in whatever level you want to take it at. But if you can really do this audience research, it's just so powerful. And see how it's powering up your entire business in a way.
Yeah. Sorry.
And the fact that you're embracing all of yourself. So, you know, that, and I love it, the quantum, I love that stuff too. So it's really great to hear you say, yes, I'm talking about it, and people are responding. So
yeah, well, I kind of figured that that's all the knowledge I've got, and that's what underpins my approach, is that understanding. And so I have to start talking about it. Yeah,
you do.
So look,
really
and
do.
I remember a woman about last year contacted me to see if I would do some market research of her interview. And she told me that her coach had said, you've got to get out there and do 100 interviews. And I thought, oh, shit. And but the point is, the more you do, the better you understand. And that's what I'm realizing. That's why I'm trying to get as many as possible, because the more people I talk to, the better I understand them. And they surprise me.
They're beautiful. Beautiful. And it's in the surprise you'll find the answer. Yeah, so good. So good, Josie. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love that you embracing all of you, because you've got such a depth and body of knowledge in that quantum space. It needs to be getting out there. And people are ready.
I know.
And I think the other change, energetically, people are really ready to hear that stuff now. And they might even 12 months ago they weren't. So, yeah, fantastic. So I really want to highlight that, the importance of that. The other thing I want to say is around niching, and I want to share an interesting story about niching that I probably should have shared in the class, but I'll share it now, and I'll probably share it again next week. Earlier in the year, I was on holiday in Thailand, and my husband and I met a guy who'd flown to Thailand to have a week off to do some planning and strategy work in his business, and we're interested in business, so it was, what are you doing, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it turns out he owns pubs in England, and I said, and I asked the question, what's your differentiation? What's made your business successful? And do you know what he said to me? And I said, what are the three things that have made your business successful? Because I always ask people that question. And he said, our differentiation and our niche. And I said, tell me about that. And he said, well, there's been this really interesting. He said, pubs have always been in England for hundreds of years. But he said there's been this differentiation around, there's been a lot of gastro pubs coming in, so very upmarket food. Pubs have changed, and they've become these places where there's a lot of families and very upmarket food and so on. But he said what we are doing in our pub is, he said, we serve no food. We only have crisps, and we don't have any of that gastro pub stuff. And it's a very simple, old-style English pub. And he said, what we have done is we have created a place for the men who used to go to the pubs to come back to and feel safe and like they've got their community back again. And
beautiful. That's tradition. Yeah.
Tradition. And it's men, in single. And I said, so who's your market? He said, they're single men, 40 plus, who just want to go to the pub and have a drink and see their mates, but they don't want to have a lot of children and even a lot of women around.
Yeah.
This guy is running a really successful business on this model. That's the niche of the niche. So you see how the niche was this, it went out, then it's come back in, and he's able to run a really successful business alongside all these other very successful businesses. And that's, very specific to that culture, but he cleverly got into that. And interestingly, the pub he's in is literally 500 years old. And I said, because I loved all those old English buildings, I said, does it have secret passages? He said, yes. I said, oh my God, that's so exciting. But do you know what I mean? So that's when I talk about niching, and I'll share that story again next week, because it's when everyone in the actual class, but I think it's a really important one to share. So any questions for anyone? Josie, thank you for your sharing. It was really fabulous, and I love the testimonial for surveying. Any other questions from either of you before we close up for today?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Josie?
I think I just have to keep pushing on. I think I've got a whole lot of new information, and it's just a matter of working it through. And
Beautiful. So good. Yeah, definitely. And you're in the flow of it. You're just making it all happen. So congratulations.
Yeah, it's feeling really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Mary, how about you? Any other questions from you?
No, I've got a lot buzzing around in my head. I want to get that survey done, so I can like target people at the markets, target marketing, and I want to put it into practice this Sunday. Yeah, and just keep on improving from my first market that I did on last Sunday to just keep it rolling out and out and out. But from that, I can then hop into other markets as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And
yeah.
So go on.
No, you go.
Mary, the other thing that comes up very strongly for me, and I do work a bit intuitively, is that if you can really envisage, when you're in that market on Sunday, just really envisage drawing to you the women who need your product, like the women who there's, and your research will show you that you're a woman, but really just imagine embracing her and that you're serving her, that you're providing a service to her. But just imagine you drawing all those women to you just through the ether. They're going to come to you. But just have a really open space that the right women are going to come to you. So just visualize that when you're driving to the market, when you get up that morning, before you go to bed the night before, just visualize this woman and really hold her in your heart as someone that you can really support and help with this. So, and I think that could really help you.
Yeah,
okay,
that's great.
I sound a bit weird. I will say I'm with Josie on the quantum weirdness. That is a bit of quantum weirdness there. But
it works.
It will work.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah, it's really intention setting, isn't it, in a way? But it's just
yes,
quite deliberate. It's a really good way of doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So get really clear, because what it is, it clears everything else out and helps you. The focus is you're very clear about what you want, and then you draw people to you. It's like the analogy is, it's like the moths to the light bulb, the flame. That's what we want. Yeah. All righty. Well, I shall stop the record now. I shall. Yes.
I have a question before you go. So it's 12:15. I had it down for 12:30. So it's 12:15 every Thursday.
Yeah, and every Tuesday I've just locked into that time, if that's okay. So I apologise for that.
So it's the same on Tuesday, 12:15 and 12:15.
Yeah, 12:15.
Okay, because I think I had you at some other time.
Yeah. No, good clarifying question.
Yeah, I've got you at 12:30. Okay, 12:15. I'm changing them all.
Beautiful.
So I don't miss them in the future.
No, well, thank you so much for coming and being here, Josie. Love it. And thank you, Mary, for coming. And great session today. Thanks for your great questions. That'll be good for people watching. So we'll see you on Tuesday for Q&A. Ciao.
Shall do. See you.